Welcome to this module of prompt engineering. I am Dr. Sneha Sharma, a faculty and researcher at MIT Center for Artificial Intelligence, and I'm very happy to be your guide in this journey of learning AI tools and applications. Now, we'll start with the prompt engineering. Let's have a brief view on prompt engineering. Prompt engineering is itself a fascinating field that explores how we can best communicate with artificial intelligence. It's all about crafting effective prompts or instruction to guide your AI system. You can also think of it as a finding the right words to unlock the full potential of a powerful tools. These powerful tools are your language model. What is language model? If I just give you a simple example of language model, this language model is your chat GPT, Gemini. So these are the language model. You're asking question to them and in response they give you the answers. So in this, we'll be going to learn the definition and importance of prompt engineering. We'll also discuss the principle of effective prompt design. So what will be the learning objective? So at the end of this session, you will be able to define the prompt engineering and its significance in AI. You will able to understand the elements of effective prompt and its component. We'll be learning about the challenges that are addressed by prompt engineering in language models. You'll be exploring the examples of prompt for tasks like summarization, classification, and reasoning. So what is prompt engineering? Prompt engineering refers to that how you are crafting the prompt or instruction to guide the behavior of your language model. This language model is nothing but your AI tools. So you might have heard that you are using ChatGPT or Gemini or other language models. These language models are trained such a way that they can answer your queries and in response you're getting certain useful answers. Okay. So if I carefully design these prompts, you can control the AI output style by toning its content. Okay. So we can effectively design those prompts. So it requires the understanding of the model capabilities and limitation. So how your model is capable of, what your model is capable of, and what are its limitations that you cannot ask this type of question and in this way. So that is the limitations you need to understand that what are the limitation capabilities of your model. Prompt engineering is essential to harness the potential of AI system while avoiding the bias, inaccuracies, and unintended output. So you should know that what you want to give, what exact instruction your model is looking from you. That is prompt engineering. Now, what is prompt actually? So prompt involves instruction and context passed to a language model to achieve the desired task. And if I just combine this prompt with the prompt engineering, then it is the practice of developing these optimized prompts to efficiently use your language models for variety of application. Whether it can be summarization, it can be code generation, or it can be image generation. So these are the instruction which you are providing to your language model, and in response your language model is acting. Now, prompt engineering is a useful skill for AI engineers and researchers to improve and efficiently use your language models. So, if I just go on ChatGPT and write, what is prompt engineering? So, it will give you a very well defined definition of prompt engineering. You can try it out. Now, why we require this prompt engineering? Like, we all know that how to ask the question, but to ask the question to a language model is kind of a tricky. So, although the language models are great in generating the appropriate responses for various tasks, where the model predicts the probability distribution of next word in a sequence and generate the most likely word. So, it basically works on the probability distributions. Okay. So, it will give you the probability that what should be the next word out of the sequence. Okay. But AI systems are well impressive but can sometimes lack the common senses. It has mixed contextual nonsenses and it may struggle with logical consistencies. That is the problem. Okay. So a well-designed prompt can bridge this gap and helping the AI to understand and respond more accurately. Okay. So these are the problems and the limitation one may face, because of which we require the prompt engineering to give a well-designed instruction to your AI model. Now let's break down the elements of effective prompt. It is like a recipe with some key ingredients. Okay. So it must have the clear instruction, the relevant context you have to provide, the actual input data you have to provide, and then you will looking at the output indicators. So how you want your desired output in which format. So let's suppose this was my task and I want the sentiment as an example. So I have clearly mentioned that you need to classify this text into these three output responses. So that is my output indicator, that is how I want my output to look like. So these are the elements of your prompt. Then you are designing the prompts for different tasks. So in next few slides, we will cover a few examples of common tasks using different prompts. Okay, so these can be text summarization, question answering, text classification, role playing, code generation, or reasoning. So let's look about all these tasks. So first we start with the text summarization. Okay, let's say I have written a long paragraph about antibiotics. Okay. Now I don't want to go with all this text all over again and again to understand that what this text is trying to tell us. So what I have given a prompt or an instruction to my model, that is explain the above in one sentence or two lines or three lines. So you give the proper instruction that you want to summarize this thing. So you can see that how well your model has summarized this whole set of content. Okay. So that is your task as text summarization. Then you have question answering. Okay. So let's suppose you're provided with a complete set of theory or the text content, and now you want to ask the question that what is OKT3 originally sourced from? So how this thing is originally sourced from, I need to understand the whole text and then I need to answer. But it can be done in a second's time. You just form your question that based on this text, answer me what? So the answer is mice in this case. So this is the question answering. In this form, you can use your prompt engineering. Then you have text classification. So I have already given you this example. Text classification means given this text, you need to identify what are the sentiments. Whether the person, let's say, if I say, I think the food was okay. The sentiment of the person was not negative or positive. It was kind of a neutral. Okay, okay. So he was not so happy and he was not so sad also. So that is the neutral sentiment you could analyze from this text. Then you have the role playing. Now, what is role playing? Role play means you could instruct the AI to assume certain persona and engage in a conversation. For example, the following is a conversation with an AI doctor. The AI should respond now professionally and in informative manner. Okay, so that is a role playing. Then you have code generation. So earlier we all have this problem that we can't remember the syntax of every other language because there are many languages, Python, Java, C, C++, .NET. So there are many languages and no one remembers all the syntax of all these languages. So you can give your instruction to your AI model that I want this task to be done. Write a code, let's say in Python for me, that how to do this task. So see how much simple it is now, that you don't have to remember, you just have to maintain on what logic you want your code to be run on. Okay. So if you remember that and if you have your own task, then you can give the command to your AI model and it will generate a code for you. Then we have the reasoning also. So let's say I have this maths problem. So the odd number in this group, add them up to an even number. Will them adding them up gives you an even number? So what task? Like if I just break down this, I can see that out of all these set of numbers, first I need to find the odd numbers and then I sum them up. So if I sum them up, whether it is an even number? No, because 41 was an odd number. So that is with the reasoning that is giving you the answers. Now what? Now you have principle of effective prompt designing. If you follow these principles, you can be a better prompt engineer. So let's say the first principle is be concise. Your aim for brevity and clarity in your thoughts. You will use the language that is as simple as possible without sacrificing the necessary detail. Let's say I give the prompt to my ChatGPT like, can you provide me with a detailed explanation of photosynthetical process and the significance of this biomedical reaction? This is quite confusing. You're not clear about that what actually the user want from me. But I can improve this prompt by giving this question that explain the photosynthesis process and its significance in detail. So that is clear and concise. Now you're also not losing any relevant details, like you need the concept to be of photosynthesis process. Okay, so that is how you could be clear about your prompt, and you should be concise about your prompt. The next is you should avoid vague and ambiguous wordings. Be as specific as necessary for the task. Let's see, how do I produce a paper? So what does it mean? Whether it mean that manufacturing of the paper, or you what do you actually like want to say with the paper? Okay, so that is a vague and ambiguous wording because it is not like actually that much clear that what actually this paper means or the production of paper means. But if I give this improved prompt that explain the common steps of writing a research paper for peer-reviewed academic journal, so now it is clear that this paper belongs to a research paper and that too for a journal. So I need a steps of writing this kind of paper. So now it is clear that about what paper you are talking about. Then you have principle 3. It includes context and logical structure, which provide the context to improve your reasoning. Build a structure and coherent prompt. What does it mean? Let's say mention tasks involved in writing a research paper. So what is about the writing a research paper for any student assignment? What is that? So if I just give a clear a context information and the logical structure means I want to list all those steps of writing the research paper for student assignment, and you'll be beginning with selecting the topic. That means you have to not just start with randomly. You have mentioned that I want my things to be started initially from where I have to select the topic also, and it should end on the proofreading of final draft, and in between them you can add give me the list of other steps that should be involved in writing the research paper. So that is you need to logically structure your prompt. Then you have principle 4, that means break down the complex task. So if I write just throw this whole set of text in front of AI tool, so it may get confused. Okay, so there are possibility that you won't get the answer for this text. So a better way to do this is that you define the prompt in a breakdown manner. That means first step is to do this task, second step is to do this task, and third step is to do this task. So now you strategically get the answers out of your AI tool. So that means break down your complex tasks. Just don't fumble or just don't combine many tasks all together in a single text. Okay. Then you have principle 5. That means specify desired output. So when I'm talking to something, let's say if I'm talking to my friend, then I use a tone like a friendly tone or a casual tone. But if I have to talk to my professor, then I have to use a formal tone. Okay, so that means you could also specify that to whom or about what context you want your desired output to be and what should be the depth and length. So you might have seen that your prompt will always like mostly in the form of point wise or the bullet points. So if you want the details of those points, you have to mention it. Like I want the detailed explanation of this. Then at what length? Let's say in 500 characters. Okay. So that is the depth and length. What should be the format language of your content type? And this thing, temperature. So we'll be covering this thing in more detail in your coming slide, but just for now, understand it as a parameter which control the precision and randomness or your creativity. Okay? So you can also control that. The principle 6 says that reflect and adapt your approach. So if you say that if I'm not getting the exact output what I want as my desired output, then you should be flexible. You need to improve your prompt. You should be fine tuning your prompt. Okay. Just don't leave that. Prompt not leading to desired output, adjust them and rerun them. Okay. So you are actually fine tuning and improving your prompt. So it is also possible that you can combine all these principles. So all these principles which we have learned till now, you can also combine them up. You can use any of them. You can combine them up also. Then you have the summary. As a summary of this, we can define the prompt engineering, which involves crafting the prompt to guide AI behavior effectively. Then you have key elements. What are the key elements of this session? We have included the instruction. What instruction you need to include? What is the context, input data, and output indicators? What are the challenges we have seen? We have seen that there are many challenges when you are giving the wrong prompt. Okay, so it may lack the common sense, contextual gaps, and logical inconsistencies. We have also seen the applications of these prompt engineering in the applications like text summarization, question answering, sentiment analysis, role playing, and code generation. So, this was all about the session. I hope you enjoyed the session. Happy learning.